May 1945. The hot New Mexico desert seemed far from the ravages of war in Europe. "100 tons of TNT, a rehearsal to scale and calibrate the power of an untested atomic weapon. Two months from this day, man would unleash the destructive power of a demon locked within the very fabric of matter and plunge the world into the atomic age. For the next 20 years, testing the power of the atomic bomb would hold the world captive by events shrouded in secrecy. Events set into motion 7 years earlier.
March 1938. Hitler invades Austria. The Third Reich begins to flex its military muscle. Later that year, German scientists discover fission of the uranium nucleus, bringing the Third Reich one step closer to discovering the secret of the atomic bomb. Fear of German research stimulated activity in the United States and England. Fear that German scientists could produce weapons of great devastation. In the fall of 1939, Dr. Albert Einstein wrote his now famous letter to President Roosevelt, explaining the urgency of work on uranium fission. Roosevelt, a man of action, moved swiftly. An advisory committee on uranium was appointed. German forces invade Poland, plunging the nations of Europe into a Second World War. A new branch of the Army's Corps of Engineers was established to administer work on military uses of uranium. Major General Leslie R. Groves, the man responsible for the Pentagon, was placed in charge of the project. On December 2nd, the first self-sustaining chain-reacting pile was successfully operated by Enrico Fermi. Fermi's success brought intense efforts between government and the private sector, creating huge industries for uranium separation in the town of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and for the production of plutonium in Hanford, Washington, at the shores of the mighty Columbia River. This tremendous effort forged the materials necessary for creating an atomic bomb. The first atomic bomb was assembled at Los Alamos, a secret laboratory in New Mexico. When Dr. J.R. Oppenheimer arrived to take charge, he began to surround himself with a galaxy of outstanding scientific stars. From Los Alamos came the bomb design and treatment of many theoretical problems. Yet many questions still remain unanswered. What are the secrets of this new source of power and destruction? Knowledge and information on all aspects of this new weapon are essential and can only be discovered by further testing.
Knowledge and more knowledge. I didn't want to.
The uranium gun weapon, or little boy bomb, was a simple design.
Hitler,
and
not
scientists
all,
were confident it would work without testing.
swallowed up half of
The Fat
Poland.
Man, or implosion bomb,
He
was a more
invaded the
efficient
West.
design, using
And 2 days
plutonium
later,
instead
there
of
was
uranium.
an invitation to the Pan American Congress, where Roosevelt, whom I have never seen before,
Inside the very center of
was
the
going
bomb
to speak.
was an initiator,
and he made a
surrounded
remark
by a sphere of plutonium.
how the world
This
is
sphere
really
was encased within a
endangered
set of
by,
symmetrically located,
Hitler.
high-explosive lenses,
among other
creating
things,
an
and at the
implosion
climax,
which forced the plutonium into itself,
You
attaining
scientists
critical mass.
are blamed for the weapons. But I tell you that if you don't work on weapons, the freedom of the world will be lost. Now, you know, I had the feeling that Roosevelt was talking to me. I was there when the letter was signed that
The blast
awoke his
instantly
interest
raised temperatures to
in
10
nuclear
million
energy.
degrees,
I
releasing
thought
a
I
force
knew
of 1
he
million
was
pounds of
talking about
pressure,
nuclear energy.
vaporizing
Of
the
the
tower
2,000
and
scientists
all desert
there,
life within a half
I
a mile.
felt he was talking to me.
The intensity of light was
course not
sufficient to
true.
cause temporary blindness
But
to an observer
in that
10
20
miles away.
minutes talk, my mind was made up. I continued to like better to
With a
work on
yield 200
pure science.
times greater than the
But
100-ton
this
test,
had to be done.
the fireball
And as
created a
long as it
crater
had to be
nearly
done,
1/2
and
mile
I could
across
contribute, I did,
and fused the
and was
desert
never
sand
sorry
into a
for
green
having done.
glass still containing traces of radioactivity 50 years later. The uranium gun weapon, or little boy bomb, was a simple design, and scientists were confident it would work without testing. The Fat Man, or implosion bomb, was a more efficient design, using plutonium instead of uranium. Inside the very center of the bomb was an initiator, surrounded by a sphere of plutonium. This sphere was encased within
Pearl
a set
Harbor
of symmetrically located,
plunged the United
high
States
explosive
into
lenses,
war.
creating an implosion which forced the plutonium
For 3
into
years,
itself, attaining
gathering
critical
momentum with
mass.
each small victory, our forces had conducted an offensive against the war-floated empire of the rising sun. Slowly, island by island, mile by mile, and then with ever-quickening sweeps, the combined land, sea, and air forces of the Allies drove against the borders of that empire, forcing it back until late in 1945, only the bastions of the Japanese home islands remained to be stormed.
The blast instantly raised temperatures to 10 million degrees, releasing a force of 1 million pounds of pressure, vaporizing the tower and all desert life within
Ahead
half a
lay
mile.
the greatest campaign of all.
The intensity of
Invasion
light
of
was
the
sufficient to
Japanese
cause
homeland
temporary
and
blindness to an
close-in,
observer
desperate
10
fight.
miles away.
That this fanatical enemy would not quit until her last fighting man had been driven from his cave and killed.
With a yield 200
had been
times greater
established
than the
time and
100-ton
again by
test,
bitter
the
experience.
fireball created a crater nearly 1/2 mile across and fused the desert sand into a green glass still containing traces of radioactivity 50 years later.
Pearl Harbor plunged the United States into war. For 3 years, gathering momentum with each small victory, our forces had conducted an offensive against the war-floated empire of the rising sun. Slowly, island by island, mile by mile, and then with ever-quickening sweeps, the combined land, sea, and air forces of the Allies drove against the borders of that empire, forcing it back until late in 1945, only the bastions of the Japanese home islands remained to be stormed. Ahead lay the greatest campaign of all, invasion of the Japanese homeland, and close-in, desperate fight. That this fanatical enemy would not quit until her last fighting man had been driven from his cave and killed, had been established time and again by bitter experience.
The uranium gun weapon, the little boy bomb, was detonated over Hiroshima at an altitude of 1,800 feet, the height to achieve maximum blast effect. 2 days later, the Fat Man implosion bomb was detonated over Nagasaki. In Hiroshima, 70,000 people were killed, listed as missing. Of its 90,000 buildings, over 60,000 were demolished. The implosion bomb dropped on Nagasaki took the lives of 42,000 people and injured 40,000 more. It destroyed 39% of all buildings in the city. With a yield of 20 kilotons, similar to that of Trinity, this weapon would be considered a non-atomic bomb and provide a blueprint for all future nuclear weapons.